Imagine photographs so eerie and dangerous they were hidden in a toothpaste tube to make it out alive. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Brianne.
I am, buzzing about today's story. It is heavy, and it is important, and there is a mystery in the margins I cannot shake.
I'm ready to be the designated balloon popper if you try to sell me a haunted darkroom again. Sorry, not sorry.
Welcome to the Veil, Unsolved and Unbelievable. Okay, so check this out. Today I'm diving into what I call the Black Margin Murmurs, tied to 4 clandestine photos taken at Auschwitz-Birkenau in August 1944. The black borders in 2 of those frames, I swear, have a presence.
Wait. You're saying the borders of a photograph speak, the literal black bits on the edges.
Not with words. More like they answer back when you stare too long. Hold that thought, though, because context matters here, big time. First, the facts. In August 1944, a Jewish Greek prisoner in the Sonderkommando, often identified as Alberto Herrera, though records are fragmentary, managed to take 4 photographs near Crematorium 5 at Auschwitz-Birkenau. 2 images capture people undressing in the birch grove right before being forced inside. One of those is misaimed and shows just trees because the shots had to be taken fast. From the hip, no time to use a viewfinder. The other 2 look out from a dark opening toward open-air cremation pits, with an SS man's back visible in one. These are among the only known photos taken at or inside the gas chamber perimeter. Their existence is almost impossible, and yet they exist. It was a team effort. Alter Feinzelberg, also known as Stanislaw Jankowski, helped coordinate. The Dragon brothers, Shlomo and Josel, were in. David Chmielewski hid the camera in a bucket and watched from the roof for SS movements. They timed the shots when the watchtower view was clear, literally buying seconds. The camera, a witness remembered, looked like a compact Leica. Small, quick, perfect for a hidden click. These 4 frames later got catalogued by the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum as 280 through 283. But that numbering is just an index, not the true order. Here is how the film escaped. The Polish underground smuggled it out in a toothpaste tube, carried by Helena Danton, who worked in the SS canteen. Along with it was a note dated September 1944, signed Stockwell, by political prisoners Józef Cyrankiewicz and Stanislaw Kładziński. It said, "The photos show bodies by a burning stake and people undressing before the gas chamber." It asked that the material reach Tel, Teresa Wasocka Stryker, in Krakow, and requested more film. That was a plan, not an accident. Early on, when these images were shared, a Polish photographer named Mucha cropped them, probably to make the figures more legible. Later, in 1958, some versions were retouched to sharpen lines. Those edits hid something essential. In 1985, when uncropped prints surfaced from resistance member Władysław Pytlik's collection, the museum realized the black masses around 2 frames were actually part of the evidence. That darkness is the inside of a gas chamber opening. Art historian Georges Didi Huberman argued those black margins are not blank. They testify to where the photographer stood, and the mortal risk in every single millimeter of those 4 frames.
On that note, the timing of the shots, if I remember right, is debated. One witness, Chmielewski, said 15 to 30 minutes for the set, but a later analysis by Christoph Cognet used shadows and August sun angles to suggest 2 windows, morning for the undressing shots, mid-afternoon for the cremation pits, hours apart. Same transport before and after.
Exactly. And there is a wild internal clue. A sliver of the undressing scene appears inside one of the cremation images, which helps fix the real order, even though the catalog numbers go 280 to 283. That overlap is like a breadcrumb from the day itself. All right, here's the deal. My personal theory? The black margin murmurs. After hours in quiet museum rooms, when the uncropped prints are under conservation lights, people say the dark frames feel alive. Stand with those photos long enough and the black border seems to drink the light. Some swear they hear a soft click, like a shutter returning home. Lights flicker a little. The treetops in the misaimed frame feel like they rustle. I know the building is sealed. I know vents are steady. I know how our eyes and brains play tricks. But I believe those black margins answer back if you stare into them too long. Picture someone working late in the photo room. The uncropped print from inside the gas chamber aperture sits under the lamp. That massive black shape is not negative space. It is the inside of the chamber the photographer ducked into to stay out of sight. Outside, the pit burns. An SS man stands with his back to us. The worker leans closer and the black deepens, like it is taking in a breath. A soft mechanical kiss in the air, as if a hidden camera just fired. The stool skitters because they startled. And on the table there is, I do not know, a travel-sized toothpaste someone forgot. You cannot help thinking of Helena Danton hiding film in something exactly that ordinary, exactly that domestic. In that instant, the room smells faintly of mint, and it is the strangest, coldest thing. Another night you catch a tremble in the light. It is conservation lighting, dim on purpose. But now the tremble feels like a signal from the rooftop where Chmielowski once watched for SS movements and gave the go. Clear. Now. And if your pulse jumps, the birch trees in the misaimed frame seem to ripple once, like a memory unspooling. That is the murmur for me. Not ghosts, but a presence of effort, of danger, of a split-second decision echoing. The margins are the room the photographer hid in. The darkness keeps insisting on where this evidence comes from. If I had been there, I ask myself this all the time, would I have taken the shot? Would I have risked it? I want to say yes, like it is obvious, but honestly, I do not know. So maybe I hear the click because I am trying to answer that question. Maybe the margin answers because it remembers someone actually did.
All right. Deep breath. I get why you feel it that way, but here is my take. The black margins are not mystical. They are the interior of the gas chamber opening. They look like a void because they were literally a dark aperture. Our brains are wired to find patterns and agency in ambiguity. It is called pareidolia. You stare at a deep black shape in a silent room. Your attention system is on high alert because you know what the photo shows. You will hear a hum in the HVAC and your mind will label it a shutter. Lights in old buildings flicker a bit. Dim conservation lights are notorious for it. That is not a message. That is circuitry. The misaimed treetops. That is not omen. That is mechanics. The photographer was rushing, could not use the viewfinder, likely a compact Leica-like camera. You shoot from the hip while trying not to die. You will get a frame of sky. That misfire is powerful precisely because it is an error that proves the conditions. It is not supernatural. It is human and terrifying and real. Honestly, the scholarly work anchors all of this. D.D. Huberman says the black is testimony, not absence. Pressack points out the window or doorway frame for those cremation shots, placing the camera inside. Cognate maps sun angles to morning and afternoon, reconstructing the day. Bartosik even suggests the undressing images could be shot through a high Zyklon B opening, about 2 meters up, which fits with the angle and the photographer's height. These are architectural, optical, environmental explanations, not whispers.
I do not disagree with any of that. Seriously, though, the human brain is a pattern machine. But I am saying the feeling is part of the evidence, too. The margins black makes you feel the interior space and the risk. The shiver is your body reading danger from a photo. That counts for something.
Emotional truth can sit next to documentary truth, sure, but we have to keep them labelled. When early printers cropped the images, they erased the vantage point, which messed with how people read the photos. When uncropped versions surfaced in the 1980s, that context came back. That is the lesson. Preserve the frame. Do not add one with ghost stories that could distract from what the margins really mean.
Fair. I do not want to distract. My black margin murmurs is my way of saying, do not crop out the risk. Let the darkness talk as evidence. If someone's light flickers while they are cataloging, okay, that is the building. But it might also be their body answering back to a split second of courage caught on film. And I think that reaction is worth naming.
So let me get this straight. You are not saying ghosts. You are saying keep the frame, acknowledge the fear it evokes, and do not mistake that fear for a supernatural signal.
Yes, and okay, maybe I still listen for the click sometimes. Can you imagine being the one who took that risk?
I can imagine the planning. Feinzilberg's lookout checks, Smolevski's rooftop signals, a silent count to 3, and a quick press of a shutter. That is human bravery. That is enough for me without whispers.
So where does that leave us? For me, it's this question. When we look at evidence, how much of what we see is the artifact, and how much is the person we bring to it? And does honoring the feeling ever help us understand the fact?
And for me, how do we protect evidence from our projections while still letting it move us? The margins can be both context and caution.
If you want to go deeper, read George D.D. Huberman's Images in Spite of All. It is a powerful, careful read about exactly these 4 photographs and how to look at them without looking away.
Let's move on to the part where I ask what you are doing tonight. Please tell me it is not sitting in a dark room staring at black borders, waiting for clicks.
I mean, I was going to scroll my camera roll and check if any of my vacation shots have a ghost in the edge. Kidding. Kind of. I am making pasta and absolutely lighting too many candles, which is, ambiance, not ghosts.
Text me if your kitchen lights flicker. I will bring over a surge protector and some skepticism.
Thank you all for listening. Take care of yourselves, take care with history, and keep looking closely at the world. Sometimes the edges matter most.
And keep asking questions. We will see you next time.